Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we have Katrina Kramer, who is the Vice President of Human Resources for SoClean and one of the largest New Hampshire medical device manufacturers and a Franklin Pierce University employer partner. Welcome, Katrina. Thank you for coming to talk with me today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm so glad to be a part of this. Though we may not be in person and able to do this as we originally had planned, learning to adapt and make things happen regardless of your circumstances is part of success. So I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. And so let's dive right on in. You just brought up learning to adapt and how important that actually is. So talk to me about the ways in which SoClean has adapted to our new reality in terms of human resources and staffing.
Sure. Took a very proactive approach. The moment we started hearing things about the COVID-19 and how it could potentially impact businesses, a core group of us came together within SoClean, and we were the emergency team to put together a deployment of how we can get our employees up and running on a remote basis. And so with a matter of a couple of weeks, there were about 7 of us who really worked collaboratively, many days, many nights, and trying to decide on what would be the best way of doing that. At the end of the day, once we had everything put together in terms of our ITIS department, operations, customer care, we were able to roll out and deploy remote working within about a 48-hour period of time. So we were able to have all of our customer care reps to be set up at home to work remote. Those who could not because of internet access or poor connection, we went beyond what I guess most employers would have done by purchasing internet for our employees, purchasing upgrades. We ended up purchasing hotspots so that people would be able to continue working. Those who are unable to work simply because of their circumstances, whether they had young children at home and they knew that having 2 or 3 people running, 2 or 3 little kids running around trying to answer phones would be an obstacle. We went ahead and said that that's fine. If you can't work, we understand it. If your children are home, we'll do what we can to support you. So well before the legislation came out stating that, employees would be protected. From day one, we allowed a handful of our employees to go out on what we called a COVID-19 code, and we are paying them 70% of their salary. I know the government says 60, but we wanted to do something beyond that, making it worthwhile. And so we've had, I guess, 6 or 7 employees who have been home with their children since about March 16th. A couple of individuals attempted to work from home, did so pretty well for the first couple of weeks, but realized when there was a much longer period of time because of the homeschooling scenario, they threw in the towel and said they just couldn't continue doing it. So we are doing what we can to support our employees. In terms of the warehouse environment, we have taken great strides in making sure everybody is safe. We are considered an essential business because of the type of device that we offer to the consumers. And so we decided to change the warehouse model. We have 2 separate teams that come in on alternate days, and they work only 10 hours per day, 3 days a week. So they're working 30 hours a week, but we pay them 40 hours. And we allow them to flip-flop so that in the event one person was to get COVID-19, one team, we would take that team, remove them, and bring the other team in. So it keeps the chances of everyone getting infected to a minimal. Those who have a compromised immune system, who we feel, or not we, that their doctor feels that they should not be in the warehouse around people with this potential, they have been sent home, and we're continuing to pay them because we feel that this is something beyond their control. and they want to come to work, but we're not wanting to put them in danger or go against what the doctor says. So we are really doing our best to continue supporting our employees when they just cannot work because of the circumstances. So we've taken a very bold approach. We've been very fortunate as an employer. We've been able to maintain our operations, which has allowed us to continue paying our individuals. We have not had to furlough. If we were in a different model, if we were in a different environment, if we had a different consumer product, I may be telling you something different. The unfortunate circumstances we are in has allowed SoClean to be very fortunate, and we want to make sure our employees are safe, taken care of, and so we're doing what we can to minimize any of their anxiety.
Absolutely amazing. You all have gone above and beyond in what you do, and what a culture that is. Katrina, it's obvious to me that your product. You're going to talk about your product and what you all do in just a moment, but it's obvious to me that the care that you put into your product and the quality to protect those who do use those breathing machines is the same sort of mantra or philosophy that you use to protect your employees. So this is culture wide. It includes your employees, your staff members, as well as the products that you all offer. Tell everyone, what are the products that you offer and any new things that might be coming around the bend?
Sure. So SoClean is our primary product. It is a device that cleans other sleeping apparatuses, and it is allowing people to sleep better, breathe better, things of that nature, because it provides a opportunity for them to clean various devices. In terms of other products, SoClean is a company who is looking to expand in many ways. We're keeping the idea behind health and helping others as the premise. We have launched Lunella. Lunella is a product that allows individuals to test or allow individuals to have a home sleep test in the privacy of their home. Primarily, people are having to go to sleep centers, which right now they're closed because it's not essential business, and allows them to use a watch device to test their sleep patterns, and that information is uploaded to a physician, and a physician can determine whether or not the person has sleep apnea or other type of sleep disorders.
Wow. And so I'm really interested in waiting for that Lunella product to come out. I do have a grandmother who has some sleep issues, and so maybe I'll have to turn her on to that. So let's talk about the good work that you've done. I've been reading in the papers and through other sources, the good work that you've done to support our everyone, our first responders, as well as those who are working in warehouses, those who are working in grocery stores, what have you. Talk to us a bit about what you're doing to support the mitigation of COVID-19, and how did you get ramped up so quickly?
So SoClean took the initiative that we wanted to do what we could to give back to the state of New Hampshire, and so the CEO of the company, Bob Wilkins, reached out to Eric Burbank, our VP of Operations, and along with others within the state of New Hampshire. He has a lot of great connections, and so what can we do for the state of New Hampshire? And so they've spent many days, nights, and weeks, a lot of lost sleep, into coordinating, having the face masks sent over from China, so that we can give those out to the healthcare facilities across New Hampshire. By this weekend, we should have deployed about 250,000. And this is Mask for New Hampshire is the organization. We are not the forefront of that. This has been a collaboration of many different individuals who want to make sure our healthcare members and emergency personnel and others are taken care of. And so the employees of SoClean have volunteered over the last couple weeks and have been taking the masks to the various facilities. This weekend will be the last huge initiative for doing that. Some people may have seen Governor Sununu helping with giving those masks out to facilities. I believe he was aired last Saturday, which was a pretty phenomenal type of event. It's something that we didn't do for prestige. It wasn't for a press conference. It wasn't for anything of that nature. It was because it was the right thing to do. We had the ability to get things moving very quickly. That's somewhat of the DNA of SoClean. We're a very nimble, dynamic entrepreneur type of company. That's what makes us probably stand apart from other companies, is that, when Bob sees an opportunity, he pretty much says, how are we going to get there, not if, and we have to figure out how we're going to do it.
I love that. How rather than if. That's a mantra that I should put on my wall and for all the students to see. I love that. Thank you for what you all are doing. I want to sort of pivot a bit to how has this COVID-19 crisis that we're in, how has that affected your ability to take on internships? Do you still have an internship program? Will it continue to be offered? And talk a bit about that, please.
So it definitely has impacted us in terms of internships, simply because we're not physically there on site to bring individuals in to help them learn whatever they're needing to learn and experience. And we do believe that being on site is invaluable, whether you're an intern, a new hire, or even someone who's working on a daily basis. For majority of the positions that we have, there are roles and positions where they're quite effective being remote. But we do believe that someone who is an intern who's never really been a part of SoClean it's a disadvantage to bring them in and set them up to try to execute on so many different things if they're not part of the fabric of the SoClean culture. With that said, this is a temporary pause. I think for most, we don't anticipate this being forever. We are already talking about, once Governor Sununu says, okay, we can start resuming life a little bit, what does that mean for SoClean? So we are already talking about how are we going to roll out returning employees to the company. We don't think it's going to be 100% from day one. And what does that look like? We're also looking at, as we are growing and expanding, we will be needing resources. And does that mean the resources will be 100% remote? Does that mean that we need, 20 hours for somebody here and there? These are discussions that are happening right now. But until we kind of get our hands around what is the new norm, it's hard to really dedicate ourselves to saying this is what we're really going to be doing.
So that's good to know that you haven't ruled out continuing an internship program, and we all know how important it is for interns to actually be there in the thick of things, to learn the culture and to be coached and to learn the skills necessary to be successful in a position. So I do appreciate that. So the last question I have is, I just want you to talk a bit, any advice, you've been in HR for many years, any advice you would have to students who are getting ready to graduate or who have recently graduated regarding looking for a job search skills? What advice do you have?
Sure. First and foremost, for anybody who is graduating, this is the time for them and you to go through. This is a time when seniors should be celebrating their success and wearing that cap and gown and feeling that moment that they have worked so hard for. And I can only imagine how frustrating and sad that can be for many of the seniors. So this is a blip on the map, and this will be something that the seniors will always remember, because this is such a different experience. The HR intern, Hannah, who was with me when we were when we were at Franklin Pierce, she's a similar situation. She's graduating in May. She has a heartfelt, feeling that she will not be able to, walk with her peers, but she's working through it. She's coming on full time after she graduates, so she'll be, part of the HR staff. So we do really believe in, interns turning into full-time great employees. So I don't want anybody to be discouraged. And then when it comes to anybody looking for work, right now it may be more of a challenge, but don't give up. There's many of us who've gone through really terrible times, back in the 70s. That was a rough time for individuals because employment was high. Inflation was out of the or above the roof, sorry. And 9/11 happened, 2008. So things like this will happen on a regular basis. The more interns can accept that is just part of life, that you'll get through it, and keep your eye on the ball as to what your goal is. Interns, or not interns, I'm sorry. Seniors who are graduating, graduates who are out there wanting to find that first role, keep plugging away and don't give up. Networking is great. When you are able to find somebody that you can connect with on LinkedIn, that's a great way to get yourself in the door. Willing to volunteer or to do temporary work. I know when I first graduated from college, and I was in human resources, I wasn't sure of my first direction. So I went and worked through a temporary agency, and I was able to get my foot in the door different places. And it gave me a chance to find out the different companies I liked working for and didn't like working for. So that's a great avenue. LinkedIn is a great resource where you can network and connect with individuals, whether it's, people who have graduated from Franklin Pierce that you can network with. So that's another direction, but you can't give up. And what you think your first position and first job is going to be versus what it really is so different. I know when I, graduated, I thought, I was going to walk out with my suit like you're wearing today, Pierre, and my briefcase, and I was ready to, conquer the world. I was going to make six figures my first year, and I had a reality check. I was making pennies, and I knew that I was willing to take on making pennies because I needed the experience. I needed to get in with a great company, roll up my sleeves, and do whatever I could for them to take notice of me. And when I did that, it allowed me to blossom into growing into a bigger career opportunity. It helped to shape my my craft. And I worked in a lot of places that were horrendous. And I have stories that people would just roll their eyes because, not every employer is great and not every culture is great, but you go to those places knowing you're going to learn from it, and you find out where are those places that you don't want to be. So when you find that right place, like SoClean, you're going to jump in and you'll be so thankful, and you know that the skill set you have learned along the way is going to help you to be successful when you find that place.
Absolutely. That was wonderful advice. I too have those same sort of experiences. And as I look back on them, sometimes those places that I worked that were not the best places to work actually taught me a lot about myself and what it is I'm willing to tolerate, and how I would be able to build on the skills that I had from the last place. So absolutely. Listen, I want to thank you so much. This has been very informative for me. I know that we already know each other, but this is something that I think our students are really going to benefit from listening to this interview. And before we end, did you want to give out your website address or let our students know how they can reach SoClean if they would like to begin applying for various positions once you ramp back up?
Sure. So one of the uniqueness of SoClean, because we've been ramping up so fast in the last 2 years, we on our website do not have a employment page. We're working on it. So though we've been able to hire 200 people in 2 years without a website, which is something probably unheard of, it is something that we're working on. Hopefully we'll have it up and running. In fact, Hannah, that is one of the things that she's able to work on remotely from her student housing. So it will be there soon, but until then, all the positions that we have are posted on Indeed.com. We just hired, for example, counting one person. So somebody, looking to get an entry-level position, they're always posted there. If anybody wants to email me directly, why don't you have them reach out to you, and you can give them my email address.
Absolutely. Wonderful. I will do that. And so most of our students know to look on their online job board. It's called Purple Briefcase, and it's a single sign-on students and recent grads, even for alumni. Katrina, I want to say thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Be safe, stay healthy, and until we meet again, take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.